Hello everyone and welcome to Upstate New York. It's Murph. It's Ryan Eric King, and you know what that means. It's Wednesday night on the P1 Broadcasting Network. The Horizon IndyCar Series is back. And Ryan, right out the gate, we've got a twist and a change of venue. We're headed to a road course for the first time in series history.
No, I'm so excited to be here in my home state, the traditional home of the United States Grand Prix, WATKINS GLEN International.
You know, from the blimp shot here, I can see some of the couches that they burned at the end of the '81 USGP here at WATKINS GLEN in the infield. But in all seriousness, this is the spiritual home of the United States Grand Prix. It was here for most of its existence in the 60s, 70s, and up through the early and mid 80s. This track was specifically built for the United States Grand Prix after the race had been run through the city streets of WATKINS GLEN. The city then built the circuit on the outskirts of town so that they didn't have to run through town anymore. The other part is the favored layout for the open wheel cars and the sports cars here. They call it the boot. That wasn't built until later, was it, Ryan?
Yeah, it was built specifically as an extension for Formula One.
Which kind of stinks because Formula One then left not soon after the boot was constructed. The track has many different configurations. One of its most famous corners is actually one of its most recent additions. The bus stop, added in 1990, in the 1990s, after several horrific crashes at what is now turn 6. You'll see it here later on, but the corner now known as the carousel, that at one point was a hard 180 degree right-hander, and boy was it hard on brakes. There is also no runoff room behind that corner. You go off, you go straight in the barriers, and it was a dangerous place. Resulted in several serious injuries. Tommy Kendall famously took the Intrepid off there. It's the same corner that claimed the life of J.D. McDuffie. And so the bus stop, which is, again, one of the most famous corners here, Rec, it's also one of its newest.
Yeah, because at the point of the track, it's after the run up the S's down the long back straight. It's the fastest you'll go on this course. So it makes the entry to the bus stop very tricky because you also have to keep in mind the exit, which could be a handful, and then immediately transition into the carousel.
Yeah, that change was made in 1991. If you ever want to see some wild action, go look up an IMSA race here from the early 1990s, 1990. Those cars were wild fast going up through the S's. The absolute track record here on the current Grand Prix circuit is actually Chip Robinson and Nissan NPT 1990 on the Grand Prix circuit. With the chicane, Alan Jones set back in 1980. They lapped the record with the inner loop chicane. Davy Jones in a Jaguar XJR14 1992 IMSA. And then that's the short circuit with the chicane. The full circuit with the inner loop, which has been around since 1992, and that's the track that we're going to race today. Sebastian Bourdais, a minute 23 at 9:166. That was set in 2017 in a Dallara DW12. And if you think that that chicane doesn't make a difference, it adds about 10 to 15 seconds a lap. Just to let our fans know out there, we do have qualifications underway, and we do want to get the leaderboard up there. We've got a couple of minutes to show, but right now, Brock Morris, and that's a new name for us to learn. Ryan, he's at the top of the leaderboard. He's at the top of the leaderboard for qualifications. Alex Miller sets the fastest lap now. Brock Morris will drop back down to P2. Frank Wynn, Glenn Elder, Micah Mixer, they round out the top 5. Good to see Mark Cohn going fast and having fun. Good to see Mark Cohn going fast and having fun, Ryan. He's in 6th spot alongside Kyle Clinworth. Chris Stover, 8th. Andrew Serwak, 9th. Turner Johnson, 10th. as we round the last couple of laps in qualifying. And let's get on board. Let's ride along with Chris Stouffer here. There's Chris Stouffer, and you see him. He's going along through turn 11 down the main straight. He's going to hit 180 miles an hour before he gets to turn 1, and then it's hard on the brakes down the second gear. No, he's going to take the run off the escape road. No longer under time for Chris Stouffer. I'm looking and waiting to see if there's anybody else that's going to complete any laps. I don't think we've got anybody else that is going to take time here.
Yeah, and for a road course, like top part of the field, pretty close together. Top 7 within a second of each other.
Yeah, that is pretty good. You're also going to have some guys starting in the back. Jari Brubaker, Joseph Morales, Jeff Heisong, Mason Mitchum. None of those cars took time in the qualifying session, either because they ran off the road, which is very common here, or they figure starting in the back may be the best course of action. But yeah, really only a couple of seconds between the field. And so do look forward for a close race. And the other thing about this place is, Ryan, this is definitely a track where you can pass.
Yeah, like we mentioned before, with the bus stop, that is a key passing zone. You can pass at the heel of the boot, so to speak, and especially into turn 1.
You most certainly can. Guess what we've got, Ryan? We've got ourselves a starting grid. Of course, it would probably help if I put the starting grid up. There we go. On the pole, we're going to have Alexander Miller, minute 26, 8:37. He's about 3 seconds off the outright track record. He'll be joined on the front row by Brock Morris in the 05. Frank Wynn, Glenn Elder, they're going to make up row 2. They'll be followed by Micah Mixer and our good friend the Watchman, Mark Cohn. He's going to start 6th. Kyle Clinworth, he'll be 7th alongside Chris Stover in 8th. Andrew Sherlock and Turner Johnson, they're going to make up row 5. Starting in row 6, Matt Wagner, Gary Lovern. Behind them, Lith Fox and Sheridan Wade. Nate Fields, Hugo Galez will roll 15th and 16th. Nick Wheeler will be joined by Jacob Wilson in the 9th row. Isaac Morales, he'll go from 19th. Jeff Heisong will be 20th. I apologize. There's the grid. Short parade lap is on here. 21st, Jari Brubaker, Mason Mitchum, and Joseph Morales. Heisong, Brubaker, and Morales. Mitchum, by the way, did not take time. So that's your starting field here for the Horizon Series opener. We're going to do 36 laps here, Ryan, and I'm looking forward to a dandy.
Yeah, like 36 laps is a relatively short dash around here, but I can guarantee you we're going to see plenty of action today.
We most certainly are. There's the field. The 05 Brock Morris, that's a name that I am not familiar with, but that is a really, really good-looking automobile. We are familiar with the TMR entry of Alex Miller, and so there he is. See if we can't find the cars on the track. There they go. Looking at him coming through turn 10. It's going to be a short pace lap here, Ryan, and so we're going to have to be on our stuff as they roll through turn 11 or through turn 10. There the field streams through. On their way down to turn 12. And we're going to have to jump in the flag stand because they're going to get the green flag just in a spare moment. After the off-season, Season 2 of the Horizon IndyCar Series springs into action, and Alex Miller wastes no time. He hits the loud pedal. He's going to take turn 1, and already we've got trouble. Mark Cohn loses a front wing. We've got trouble going through turn 1. They come through the S's now.
Got 3 cars off, but we stay green.
We do stay green. You see the blue and white machine of Mark Cohn. He's the car there that's missing a front wing. Everybody else safely through. Do have a car slow in the back. That's Kyle Clinworth. Yari Brubaker is also off the pace. Clindy, by the way, does have the meatball. He's going to have to pit that car. Clean through the bus stop we go. Mark Cohn hanging tough with that broken front wing. He's dropped down to 15th, but he is going to have to pit, and that is a tough break. I know that Cohn was looking forward to today. We also see, I believe that's Frank Wynn. He's dropping positions with a busted front wing. That's no fun looking through turn number 9 here. Alexander Miller continues to set the pace. Some tough breaks, though, for some early contenders and some guys that we thought might have a good night. That's Cohn off in the background. He's just trying to limp it back home, Ryan.
Yeah, hopefully he can just come in, hit, get the new wing, get out there and just circulate, stay on the lead lap. You don't know. There could be a large accident or some form of track blockage, and we can get a full course caution.
Yeah, we most certainly could. Already we see Kyle Clinworth and Glenn Elder on pit lane, as is Yari Brubaker. So cars pitting to address the damage that was sustained in the kerfluffle at turn number 1. The lead is that man right there. Alexander Miller has jumped out to over a second over Frank Wynn. Micah Mixer currently runs 3rd. Brock Morris has slipped from his front row starting spot to 4th. Chris Stouffer, the old pro, he's going to run 5th. The best battle on the track is right through here. That's Matt Wagner in 9th, Lith Fox in 10th, and they're followed by Turner Johnson in 11th. And Turner Johnson, he's looking kind of racy on Lith Fox there. Those 4 cars, by the way, they're going to be joined by Hugo Gallas. That's another one of the old pros of the community. Hugo Gallas running along in the number 57 VOR entry for Velocity Online Racing. He is 12th, but we're keeping the battle here. Matt Wagner is under serious fire from Lith Fox. That's a battle for 9th. And if Fox makes one mistake, Ryan, he's going to get passed up by Turner Johnson.
Yeah, it's not going to be just Johnson, because at this point, Gallas is right there. You make a mistake, you're losing 2 spots.
Yeah, you could lose 2 spots. You might lose 3 spots. You could lose a passel of positions. There goes Lith Fox by Wagner. Wagner is going to drive to the inside. It looked like he was going to let Turner Johnson go. He does so. So Matty Wagner, he's going to drop back to 11th. You see Lith Fox move into 9th. He's going to set sail after Gary Lovern, who is some 2.5 seconds up the road. Speaking of battles, here's another one. We've got Chris Stouffer in 5th, Andrew Surwack 6th, Sheridan Wade is the car in 7th. These cars, they're getting after it 5th, 6th, and 7th here, Ryan.
They're slowly making their way up the field.
They are indeed. Christopher's got a bit of an advantage over the Gatorade car of Andrew Surwack and Sheridan Wade. He's in that spot. He's in that position. He's looking for one mistake, and he might be able to grab a couple of spots. Do want to shout out to everybody who's watching out there. Thank you so much for tuning it in. The Horizon IndyCar Series. Shane Coker, he is race control tonight. That's an important position tonight, isn't it, Ryan?
Yeah, because Coker has at his discretion the ability to throw full course caution, and so far we hadn't seen any incident to warrant it, but there could be a time later on where it definitely becomes a possibility where we're all lining up behind the pace car again.
Yeah, and that's definitely true. And so Shane Coker has a big job tonight. That's Micah Mixer. He just went past Frank Wynn, so moved Mixer up to 2nd. Frank Wynn back to 3rd. Interesting to note, the top 5 cars all on the black tires. Sheridan Wade is going to peek to the inside of Surwack. They're headed for the bus stop, and that's a great place to pass, but it is also a great place to get yourself back in line. You cannot go 2x2 through the bus stop and expect to come out the other side in most cases, can you, Ryan?
No, because you're usually having an airplane crash or you're taking that bus stop at like 20 miles an hour.
Very, very true. And they're hauling the mail through there. We're gonna get on board. Let's get on board with our leader. This is Alexander Miller, and just kind of show everybody what a lap here at Watkins Glen looks like. Of course, we've got Anna in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us, Anna. Cheering Alex on. We're on top of the TMR machine. Here he goes through turn 11. Ryan, you're going to see some heavy braking when he gets to the end of this straightaway, aren't you? Corner of course, called the 90, down to second gear, runs it a little bit wide. You're allowed to do that. Through the S's turns.
On the curve.
Yeah, S's are turns 2, 3, and 4. On the back straight now, and you're going to see terminal velocity for whatever the setup is right here, 176 miles an hour. That's the bus stop. That's how quick that is. Into the outer loop, which is turn number 5. They're going to go down the chute. And now we're in the part of the course called the boot. NASCAR does not run this, but this is the actual turn number 6. Down toward the toe of the boot, turn number 7, another 180-degree right-hander. This one's slower than turn 5. We're going to blast uphill toward turn 8. It's about a 100-degree right-hander, Ryan. And that'll set up a short straight and a slow second gear left-hander for turn 9. And then you're all the way back on the NASCAR course. This is a part you're familiar with if you're a stock car fan. Down to turn 10, turn 11, and back to the front straight. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a very simple course. It's simple to learn, hard to master. There are plenty of places where you could probably run wide, get your lap time disqualified. But once you get going, it's easy to get into a flow. There are not really that many very low-speed corners, no hairpins. It's very flowing. And once you get in a rhythm, you just go.
Yes, it is. Andrew Serwak was just about to report on the weather. We'll belay that because Andrew Serwak has found himself with the meatball. He needs to respect that, and we need to go back and figure out what happened to Andrew Serwak. I believe he's going to be coming through turn number 8 there, the right-hander, and that's going to set up turn number 9, and I bet you he's going to loop this thing and either have a collision with Lovern or a collision with the wall coming on to power here. Yep, there it is. That's so easy to do there, too, that exit of turn number 9, light the rear tires up, and have that whiplash action back and forth. Serwak's back under power, back on the track. He's taking his fast repair, but Andrew Serwak is back to 19th on the day.
Yeah, you mentioned how easy it is to do. We saw it there just last weekend in the 6 hours of the Glen, where one of the LMP2s looped it around there and then got hit head on by another LMP2.
Yeah, and there goes Gary Lovern, and you see Lovern just behind Sheridan Wade, the red car in the background. He very nearly did the same thing. Gary Lovern was able to catch that car. It is especially that problem as we watch Sheridan Wade and Chris Stouffer. That problem is especially acute when you're on old alternate red tires. Is when that action wants to happen the most. Also, when you're on cold blacks.
Yeah, because it might not feel like you're going that fast around that corner, but that's when you're putting the most stress on the tire. You're asking it to take the corner exit and be used to accelerate. Yeah,
because you want to get on the power, and Anna's exactly right. Cooked rears are very, very bad here. It's so hard to drive one of these things when you're on the alts and they're falling off. I suspect the guys that started the race on the reds, they're looking very simply to just make it to the first pit cycle. Kyle Clinworth, by the way, has retired the number 22, and we do apologize to all the Clindy heads out there, but Clindy has decided to call it a day already. He'll be credited with 22nd position. Mark Cohn has made up a spot. He's passed Glenn Elder, and Cohn, he's turning some respectable lap times out there. Mark Cohn just about on pace with the leader, Alex Miller. He's one of, if not the fastest car on the track.
Yeah, it's great to be on pace with the leader. It definitely will get him a couple spots up the field, but it's going to have to take a bigger delta if he wants to make his way up all the way to the front.
You know, it is. Right now, he's about 3 seconds a lap quicker. He's anywhere between 3 and 5 seconds a lap quicker than everybody up to 5th place. And so Mark Cohn is bringing the heat. His last lap, 128.962. Alex Miller's last lap, 128.929. Mark Cohn, the second quickest automobile on the racetrack. He's made it past Isaac Morales. The problem is, if you look up the road from Mark Cohn, there's nobody to pass.
I mean, at his speed, he'll get there eventually.
Yes, he will. Kyle Clinworth checking in the chat. He says simply, I died. And that happens, Clindy. We're sorry about your luck. And we'll, I'm sure, see you up at the front in one of the ovals. Anna Klimek offering her condolences. Her condolences, Clindy. If your Dallara needs flowers, let Ryan and I know where we should send the bouquet. Looking out the left eyeball of Mark Cohn. Have you driven the car much since the update to it, Ryan?
I've done some like practice sessions with it. I haven't done any road course racing with it.
Yeah. So one of the things I've noticed is we're going to go back to this battle. Sheridan Wade has made his way past Christopher, and that's no easy feat. Christopher is noted as being very difficult to pass. So Sheridan Wade has made his way by Christopher, and I'm sure Stouffer is going to be looking to make his way back around. Turner Johnson has caught Gary Lovern, and watch here, because Turner Johnson is in the spot to make a move. He thinks better of it. Mason Mitchum with a black flag. He had not yet pitted, so is that incident points perhaps?
Checking through.
He was okay. So he made a pit stop on lap 8, so he would have been too fast on the pit lane. Mason Mitchum. We're watching Turner Johnson chase down Gary Lovern. Always want to show the fans at home the closest battles on the speedway as Alexander Miller leads it. The other one that's kind of close, Yari Brubaker, he's working on Jeff Heisong. These are a couple of guys that know each other really well, Ryan. But this is Heisong 15th, Brubaker 16th as they blast toward that hard right-hander. Up and to the left we go. Back into the chute, setting up for turn 10.
Yeah, and Yari's on reds. He has the tire advantage. He just needs to get there.
Speaking of that, Christopher's made his way back around Sheridan Wade and has pulled way away. Do want to point out, Wade is on the red alternate tires. Christopher is on the black primary tires. And I do believe that those red sidewalled alternates are starting to give up. Alex Miller continues to run around in the 128 bracket, as does Micah Mixer. The guys that are on the reds, Ryan, they're starting to hit the 130, 131 mark, and it might be time to come get off those. What we don't know is the fuel window that's on the anchor.
That's going to be the important part.
Now, that's going to be important. If anybody in the chat knows the fuel window here for a full tank at Watkins Glen, let us know, because I neglected to check. I was in a chat with Blaze, Clindy, Seb earlier. I asked them everything under the sun, even looked at a Motec model of the setup, and I didn't ask them what the mileage was.
Because the mileage is going to be important, because it's obviously, ideally, if you can, you want to make it to lap 18 on the reds, but it's not seeming like that's going to be possible.
Do want to point out that we're trying to go on board with Brock Morris as he looks ahead to Frank Wynn, but he's having some connection issues there for Brock Morris. That is a good-looking car, though, for Brock, the 05. See him run along. But you're right. The strategy here at Watkins Glen, at least the one that's accepted, Ryan, is you want to get off. You want to get off the alternates as soon as you possibly can. You don't want to carry those tires around one lap longer than you have to.
Yeah, that's certainly the case. And the black tire here is fairly durable, and if you could probably make it to 14, 15, that's where I would probably stop, just to swap over to the blacks, and you can comfortably make it to the end on fuel. It's just an issue of making the end of the red stint not hurt you long term.
There we go. We're gonna get the word out to Clindy, see if he can tell us what the fuel window is. I do want to thank everybody for watching the Horizon IndyCar Series here on the P1 Broadcasting Network. If you haven't already done it, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell to subscribe to the channel so you can be notified of all future P1 broadcasts. We've got a full slate this weekend, Ryan. We've got the AMA Grand National Series tomorrow. We've got the Truck Series on Friday. I'm looking forward to those. We've got the 6 hours of the GLEN coming up on Saturday. You going to be running in that one, buddy?
No, I won't be running in the 6 hours this year.
Indeed. So Clindy has advised 16 laps full push, 17 with a save. If you big save, you can do 18 laps on a tank of gas, but the Reds are going to be hurting. So
yeah,
the Reds are going to be hurting. So, if you're looking at that, guys that have already stopped like Surwack, Glenn Elder, Isaac Morales, Mason Mitchum, they're basically surrendering and saying, "Look, we're going to do 2 stops, and we're just going to divide the race into 3 segments." How far are Sharon Wade, Lover, and Gallas? Those guys that are on the alternate tires, how far are they going to push it? Alex Miller is already, by the way, Ryan, on the back of Glenn Elder, and he's fixing to put him a lap down here.
Yeah, this is the part where it becomes difficult for the leader because cars that are fighting to stay on the lead lap, they're under no obligation, just pull over.
No.
And as the leader, you need to defend your lead, as in make sure that you don't get taken out trying to pass a lap car.
That's very true. Looking at Alex Miller, he does put the lap on Glenn Elder. The next car would be Andrew Surwack, and Surwack is about 23 seconds up the road. So we're looking at Alex Miller being in good shape. Do want to kind of take our fans through the field. That, of course, is your leader, Alexander Miller. In second, Micah Mixer has snuck past both Frank Wynn and Brock Morris. Micah Mixer started 5th on the day. He is currently 2nd, so a great run for the number 28 machine. Frank Wynn is 3rd. That's right where he started, the Japan Candies automobile. There he is. Brock Morris is 4th after he started on the outside pole. Brock Morris, that's a good-looking car. It's been blinking a little bit, but he's got it up in the top 5, Ryan. And then how about Chris Stouffer? He's up 3 spots. He started 8th. He's currently 5th.
Yeah, good movers. And, it's not only about being fast. Like I said, it's about, defending your position, keeping your car on track. Don't make any mistakes.
It is. Paula Scory tuning it in. She said she tuned it. Clinty's mom tuned it in just in time to see him eat a meatball. As long as he puts spaghetti with it, I think he'll be in good shape, Paula. And interpreting Clinty's slang is something that has taken me about 2 years and at least one well-worn thesaurus. But I'm working on it. Paul. There, interestingly, Ryan, is no Google Translate for English to Clindy, so you just kind of have to learn it on your own, my man.
Yeah, just learn through assimilation.
That's right. Christopher, though, runs along in fifth. Here's a guy that's been making some moves. That's Sheridan Wade. He started 14th and is up to 6th. He's being chased by Lith Fox. That's Lith Fox right behind Sheridan Wade. So Lith Fox, he started 13th. These two have made up quite a few spots. Here's Lith. He's going to dive. He's looking to the inside of Sheridan Wade. This is the best battle on the track. And let's kind of... we'll keep going. Gary Lovern, he started 8th. He started 12th. He's currently 8th. So we've seen some guys in the bottom half of the top 10, Ryan, make significant passes.
Yeah, and it's clear that some of the people who decided not to qualify definitely had the pace to be starting at the front if they wanted to.
Yes, they did. There's Matty Wagner. He's sporting a new paint scheme, courtesy of Black Magic Studios. David Dunwoody over there. He's painted up another fine-looking automobile for Matty Wagner. But there's Matt. He is in the 9th spot. He's up a couple. He's in 8th now. Hugo Gallas runs along in 9th. So there's Hugo. He's up several. Brock Morris brought his car to pit lane, and so that's why everybody was off a spot. And then looking at 11th place, Nick Wheeler. Wheels runs along in the 88th in the Velocity in the Votive Racing League machine. He is 11th. There's Jacob Wilson, the team car to Brock Morris. He is in 12th. There's the yellow wheels of Jari Brubaker. You can't miss Jari, can you?
No, never.
He's got a rear view mirror full of Turner Johnson. And the reason is, at 16 laps old, I think Yari's alternates are just about done. Alex Miller has pulled it into the pits. That's going to move Micah Mixer to the lead. So there goes Turner Johnson. In the 44, Jeff Heisong runs along behind them in the Bluey Special. Don't show that to my daughter, Rec. She'll want me to run it. Paula says that Clindy's dialect is Iowanese, so I'm gonna have to punch that into Google and make sure that I can brush up on my Clindy. We also have word that Lith Fox may be having some tech issues and didn't get many laps in practice, but he's driving up Storm anyway. I would agree. He's moved it up to 4th, but there's Heisong, and right behind him, Mark Cohn. Cohn was involved in that earlier fracas. He made it. His front wing made it exactly 2 corners. Ryan, he's made it up to 15th. He is all over Heisong. And so this deal for Mark Cohn, he's passing cars legitimately on the speedway, and he's made up nearly a 43-second penalty, which is what that pit cycle is.
Yeah, and he just blasted past Heisong like he wasn't even there.
Yes, he did. So we'll keep an eye on Mark Cohn. There he is. Andrew Surwack, we've talked about. He had his issues coming off at turn number 9. But there's Andrew Surwack. Nate Fields runs along in 18th. There's Jacob Wilson after his pit stop. Glenn Elder is making his way off of the pit lane. The only other 2 cars out here, there's Isaac Morales in the Joseph Newgarden special. He has used his fast repair. Mason Mitchum runs along in as the final car running 21st. Clindy out of the race in 22nd. That is your field. Alex Miller back to the lead. Everybody has made a pit stop now except for this man, Matt Wagner. Is he going to go for the single stopper, Ryan?
You have to. It would be the go-to strategy to win, right?
Well, you would think so, although he did not pass Alex Miller on the track, even with Miller having made a pit stop. So even if Miller has to make an extra stop here, he theoretically would be ahead of Wags, although we don't know. I mean, he's got to be on fumes. If 17 is the save and 18 is the big save, 16 or 17, 18 laps, he would have to be crawling around. Matty Wagner, last time through, though, 129, 741. So he's not exactly going super slow. And you see him, he's keeping right on up with Micah Mixer. He's not that far off the pace.
Yeah, and you know, the push to save big and go long is in the hopes that at the end of the next stint, you have more in the tank than the other guys who can push harder.
So here's the only serious bid to do the whole race on one stop, Matt Wagner. Now, Jeff Heisong is still out there. We also would anticipate that Mark Cohn would be able to do it on one more stop, but Cohn has already stopped once due to his lap 1, turn 1 incident, and so Cohn has the benefit of having an extra lap of gas.
Yeah, and I feel like that extra lap of gas might come into play big time.
Yeah, I think it might. Let's look back at Mark Cohn. That is the story. He had only stopping now, so he must have turned up the wick as far as it would go. Mark Cohn is going to make his way toward the pit lane. He'll pull it in, and so there goes that strategy. Jeff Heisong is also on the pit lane after he went 18 full laps. So there's Jeff Heisong. Not in contention, we don't think, but Heisong is making the one stopper. The only other car that's kind of off strategy, Andrew Surawak. Remember, he got that meatball earlier. He's 12 laps in his current run. We would expect him to be full tilt because he'll strap on. He would strap on the alternate tires and run a short stint to the end. And then Turner Johnson is the one car that we can safely focus in on and say Turner Johnson is doing this in thirds. So he stopped at lap 12. He's going to stop again probably about lap, I would say he's going to go as long as possible and then strap the alts back on. Wouldn't you think, Ryan?
Yeah, he'd probably get to 24 and see how the car feels and play it by ear from that point.
Absolutely, but there's Turner Johnson, so he's kind of on an alternate situation. Anna Klimek, the Bluey livery might look good on me, but I guarantee you my daughter would lose her mind. They're actually in the other room watching Bluey at this moment. The greatest gift that anybody has ever given me was my mom gave us a Disney Plus subscription, and so now my kids can just watch Bluey on a loop. You know,
that sounds like both a dream and a nightmare.
You know, Ryan, one of the things that I love about this life is that I always, you're a kid, you always think, man, when I'm an adult, I'm going to have all the toys, I'm going to be able to buy whatever I want, and I've got some awesome toys, but I don't ever get to play with them because, if I wanted to play my PS5 right now, I can't. The kids are using it to watch Bluey.
Yes, it's just the Bluey box now.
That's absolutely right. Alex Miller continues to lead it. He is 5 seconds. He just put Glenn Elder a lap down. Incidentally enough, Glenn Elder just ran the fastest lap of the race. So how about that action? Glenn Elder torched this joint for a minute 28 flat. That's a tenth quicker than Alex Miller, who's leading this race. That's a fast one, but he's a lap down. And so, but there's pace in that 27 machine for sure, Ryan.
That's where I hammer it home again. Doesn't matter how fast you are, if you can't keep the car on the track and do it consistently.
That's my problem for certain. Sure, here's Mark Cohn. He has been consistently fast. He's going to pull to the right of Jacob. Jacob Wilson, and let's see what we can see here. Mark Cohn. Well, I think I missed it. He gets through Jacob Wilson, headed toward the S's. I mistimed my click there. This is a good one. From our friends at Whiplash SimCams. Watch this. That's how fast the bus stop goes, Ryan. Cars zipping right at you. They're doing 175 and change, hauling down there, and then you have to stop and get it to, you have to slow down and get it to, what, third gear most of these guys are going to run through there?
Yeah, so third gear is somewhere between 140, 150.
And it's a quick flick left and right, and if you miss it just a little bit, you're going to be in bad shape. Gary Lovern has been closing in heavily on Matty Wagner. Lovern last time through 0.3 of a second quicker. Did kind of want to give a shout out to Gary Lovern, not known as a road racer, but he has quietly assembled a top 10 day today in the VOR machine.
Yeah, and in some cases, top 10 days win championships.
That's a great point. Most of the guys in the field, and if we were to look through here and talk about championship hopefuls, certainly you'd have to mention Alex Miller, Frank Wynn is a known quantity, Chris Stouffer, very, very quick guy. I know Mark Cohn has had his deal today. Although here he goes, he's going to grab another spot from Nick Wheeler. But Mark Cohn, that's a Lionheart driver. That's a guy that we know can get it done. Oh, we've got a car off, and that is Isaac Morales. Oh my goodness gracious! Oh. That's through the bus stop. Morales, he's going to cut it too close on the back half of the chicane, gets the car airborne, it lands, takes off right into the wall, and just about gives Jacob Wilson a heart attack.
Yeah, that's a common mistake you see at the bus stop at the exit. If you cut the second half of the chicane too close, you'll go four wheels off the ground, and if you're not touching the ground, you can't turn, you can't brake, you're just heading in a straight line forward.
You are indeed. Andrew Surowak has come to make his pit stop. Alex Miller, his second pit stop. Alex Miller is going to be your leader. He continues to draw away 10th by 10th by 2/10 by 2/10. Alex Miller leading this man, Micah Mixer. There's Micah. He is second. In third place, there's Brock Morris. And then Frank Wynn soldiers along in fourth. He had some technology issues during practice and qualifying that may not have gotten a lot of laps in, but he's shown he knows how to get it done regardless. And then Chris Stouffer, the familiar 40 racewear colors, he runs along in fifth. To get back to that point, though, Ryan, that you were talking about, championship, we'll put it back on Mark Cohn because he is closing on Nate Fields. To kind of wrap that up, you've got, really just a small handful of drivers here that I would consider, top shelf road course racers. If you're a guy like, Matt Wagner, for example, who doesn't really turn this car right a whole lot, this is just about getting a top 10 and getting out of here. For Kyle Clinworth, that would have been the goal as well. Now, Clindy's been working hard on, his road racing craft. And like I said, he had Blaze Andrich, Seb Alexander. There are no better road course coaches than you could get. But, involved in something and not of his own making, he's going to be credited with 22nd, and that's a hard hit to your championship hopes.
Yeah, especially on day one, because you're starting in a hole and you got to build that up, especially when, as we mentioned before, a lot of the contenders having good days today. Hopefully, Clendy could do what he did last season and string together a bunch of wins, top fives, and get himself immediately back in the title picture.
And there's what happened to Micah Mixer, by the way. He went off at the bus stop lost himself a couple of seconds. So Anna Klimick was asking about that. So we will oblige Anna the Deer and let her know what happened to Micah there. Go ahead. Keep going, Ryan.
But yeah, it's going to be, it's 2 weeks until the next round at Michigan. And then we get into the real part of the season. And it's going to be a long wait to wonder if you can recover or not.
Yeah, it is. You know, and I don't have any doubt that Clindy is going to be able to get himself back into the championship fight. He's very experienced at that. Most of the schedule here is ovals. Looking out the front of looking out the left eyeball of Mark Cohn, he is chasing down Nate Fields. But to get into that schedule, you know, we go to Michigan July 9th. Kentucky is the 16th, and we'll close out the July portion of the schedule at Gateway. So the Oval guys are going to get to have their fun too. Auto Club and New Hampshire await in August. You got Pocono and Kansas in September. We're going to do the second road course race October 1st. That is at Road America. Then we'll close out the season with Phoenix, Chicago, Iowa, and Indianapolis. And so, you know, looking at that schedule, it is certainly, when you consider the availability of drop weeks, favorable to the Oval guys. But you definitely don't want to give away a drop if you don't have to.
Yes, because obviously our contenders are going to be strongest on ovals, but ovals offer the largest chance of just chaos, where you can just get taken out in a multi-car accident.
Speaking of chaos, here comes Turner Johnson. He's looking all over the back of Chris Stouffer. This is prime on prime tire, but Turner Johnson nearing the end of his second run. He's been out 15 laps. He'd like to get by Chris Stouffer and get up the road. He has been significantly faster than Stouffer, but he needs to get by and get gone. Anna, you're exactly right. Spicy schedule. The only track that isn't there that I would love to have seen, Ryan Eric King, Motegi.
Oh, Motegi. Yeah, we visited there last season. It definitely was a more interesting race than you would assume going in.
It most certainly was. Do want to thank everybody out there who is interested that have tuned us in. Make sure you smash the like button on the video. Ring the bell to subscribe to the P1 Broadcasting channel and be notified of all future iRacing broadcasts on our channel. And we do have
in the pit.
Yeah, Turner Johnson's going to make his final stop with 10 laps remaining. That'll leave Chris Stouffer unchallenged in fifth. But remember, Turner Johnson had been catching him at quite a clip. He had been at points a second quicker at points. So do kind of note that. Here's another battle on the track. This is Nick Wheeler. He's going to be looking at Jacob Wilson. Now, Jacob Wilson had made that pass not too long ago to get by Wheels. Wheeler gets tucked in the draft, and he's been a little bit quicker the last couple of times through. And so there you go. You know, you got to be careful. If you get by somebody, you want to get gone. And speaking of gone, Alex Miller continues to be gone. There he is, last lap through. It's like a metronome. Minute 28 and a half for Alex Miller. He is now 8.5 seconds. 8.6 seconds clear of Micah Mixer.
Yeah, and as we're coming up on 10 to go, as we're on 10 to go, it's a case of just bringing it home, being it safe. You can bleed off. You have a bit of a cushion to bleed off a little bit of time, but you can't afford any large mistakes.
Yeah, and this is one too where if you don't necessarily, I don't want to say don't want to go 10 tenths, but if you feel like you can safely back some stuff up, you might start thinking about doing it. Alex Miller leading this affair. Nick Wheeler has fallen back a little bit from Jacob Wilson. Yari Brubaker is falling off, is catching Jeff Hysong. So I know that this is for a minor placing. This is 18th looking at 17th. That's also red alternate tires on Hysong. He's trying to do the one stopper, so he is conserving fuel and tires. Yari Brubaker has the hammer down on the black primary tires. So keep an eye on that one. Keep an eye on that one, Rec.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be add a bit of intrigue heading into these closing laps.
It most certainly does. And we mentioned future upcoming broadcasts on P1. Of course, tonight we're the Season 2 opener of the Horizon IndyCar Series. Tomorrow night we'll be in Atlanta. Sam Crow and I are going to join you 8:20 pre-race, 8:35 start for the AMA Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series. Friday night we're going to do trucks, pick 'em up trucks at Lime Rock. Jacob Wilson looking to the inside. Jacob Wilson going past Jeff Highsong, and here comes Yari. The Bluey Mobile is going backwards, Ryan.
That is not what you want to see.
It is not. So we're going to do pickup trucks at Lime Rock, 8:20 pre-race, 8:35 race start. That's the AMA Archway Industrial Coatings Truck Series. Sam Crow and I will have that one. Sunday night, this is going to be cool, and I'm looking forward to this one, Ryan. The votive IndyCar Oval Series heads to Atlanta at 8.
Oh,
not only Atlanta, but we're going to old, abused, and used up Atlanta.
Oh, Alex Miller just made contact with the lap car.
That would have been
Nick Wheeler.
Yeah, it would have been Nick Wheeler. Wheels goes into the pit lane. We do not see any damage as it appears on that 49 TMR machine. I don't see any scuffs or bents or dings or bruises in it, Ryan. He might have got away with it.
Yeah, I think he got lucky. I think he got real lucky.
Yes, he does. Yes, he did. The Taylor Mills racing driver. But that'll throw us right into next week. You know what we're going to do next week, Ryan? We're going to do one of Gary Godso's favorite things. We're going to Mid-Ohio Monday night for the Indy Open Top Split. You see, and by the way, Nick Wheeler, black flag, speeding on pit lane. Miller makes his way around Jacob Wilson. Monday night, we're going to have Mid-Ohio. That's the Indy Open Top Split, 8 o'clock. Myself and Jacob Collins. Tuesday, we're going to do the Daytona Double. How about that?
Oh, buddy.
Indy cars at the Daytona International Speedway. That's enough to make me glad I'm retired, Ryan.
I've raced Daytona. I raced IndyCar at the Daytona Oval one time. Never again. Never again.
Yeah, it is hairy to say the least. You're running around there 240, 250 miles an hour. That is how we figured out the terminal velocity of an Indy car in the draft is 262 miles an hour. You'll see somebody hit it. It's wild. It's not as bad at Daytona because it's really only wide enough to go too wide. So really, you see the craziness happen at Talladega or the iRacing super speedway where it's wide enough you can go 3 and 4 wide. Daytona's a little bit more calm because it's just 2x2. But you get one guy that makes one mislick in that field, and you'll see why we don't race these cars there for real.
Yeah, and you say we race 2x2 at Daytona. There is room for a third line, and people try it, and they quickly learn why we race 2x2.
Yeah, and the reason we go 2x2 there is technically a third lane, but at the speeds that we're going, iRacing, netcode is a thing in sim racing, and we all understand that. But we like to say that we're an IndyCar community grafted into a NASCAR sim, and at 250 miles an hour, when the signal sometimes just doesn't reach from Indiana to Brazil to Spain to Sweden to Japan and back here quick enough, right? So that is an issue. Lith Fox, by the way, has caught Brock Morris. Brock Morris has slid on his red alternate tires, has slid all the way back to all the way back to 5th. He had just made a pit stop, and so that's where he is. He came in, got the reds, and that would be a calculated bit for me, Ryan, to see if he can kind of use that to his advantage. We're figuring everybody is going to have to make one more stop. It's just a matter of when they elect to do so. I would anticipate that they'll stop and bolt on the red tires, but are we going to see anybody do gas only?
Say that Fox is coming in.
Yeah, there's Lith Fox. Now I'm going to be interested. Is Lith, because well, I guess it depends. If you've already run the red alternates, you could do gas only. If you have not run them, you're going to have to change and put them on. But this would be the time to do it.
That's true.
This would be the time to do it. Red tires, if they degrade, Ryan, they like light fuel. Here comes Matty Wagner, so he's not going to make the whole thing. Down goes Lith Fox, and he did put the reds on. All eyes now shift to Alex Miller, and is he going to hit the pit lane? Yes, he is. Go ahead with your thought, Ryan.
Yeah, and like as you said, red tires, light fuel, it's the perfect way to really punch your way up through the field at the end. And I assume we're going to see some wild stuff from Alex Miller to secure this win.
You know, you're right. One of the things that I would question, and of course I'm no expert, but one of the things that I would question, Ryan, is we see Alex Miller come in, he bolts the reds on. Are we going to see anybody that ran the red tires earlier just come in for a splash of gas, where they know that the primary tires are going to be good? Are we going to see somebody come in, plug in, come back out, and see if they can't steal a spot? It might gain you 5 or 6 seconds on the road if you can pull it off.
It would be worthwhile doing if you started on the reds and you came around 14 or 15, and you basically do that stint again, except on the hard tires, and just come in at the end and just literally just splash for like 4 or 5 laps.
Well, that's where we're at. We've got 5 laps to go. We're watching Alex Miller. Micah Mixer has gone to the lead, and don't give this man his due. Micah Mixer, in the number 28 machine, he has been second in the Sim Builder car for most of the day, but he's going to pull it in and grab some more gas, and that will hand the lead to Frank Wynn for Japan Candy Store. He's going to come into the pit lane, though, and that's going to give the lead back to Alex Miller. The next car in, and there's Chris.
Alex Miller, again, is coming up on lap traffic.
Okay, so we're going to stay with Alex Miller because as you look out the front, there it is. That is Nate Fields, Jari Brubaker, and they are all running right together. Let's see how this goes. Fields is going to pull
around
over.
The outside of the end.
Yeah, Fields is going to pull over and let him go. That was a planned deal. You see the yellow wheels, Jari Brubaker, and then Jeff Heisong in front. Heisong and Brubaker are battling for position, and they do not have to pull over and let him go. Ooh. Gary Lovern too fast on pit lane. He's got the black flag. Tough break for Gary Lovern. He had run a wonderful race to this point. Yeah.
Miller makes his move through past
Brubaker
by Jari into the boot. Up. And can he get? And he gets by Heisong.
Yeah,
the sole of the boot.
Yeah, the new alternate tires on Alex Miller, just too much. Heisong, we have contact behind them. That was Jari Brubaker and Nate Fields, I believe, and it just looked like Fields got in too hot, and that's going to be a front wing for Nate Fields here at the end of this one. Brubaker appears to have gotten away with it. No threat for Alex Miller. He's 5.8 seconds up the road. There's the car of Mark Cohn. Now, Cohn is one of the last cars to have not pitted. He would be the candidate, I think, for the splash and go. He's already run the alternate tires. He's gonna need.
Coming in.
Yeah, here he comes. He's gonna need. He's gonna need just a couple of laps of fuel. So really, what? 2 gallons, maybe 3 gallons. That's almost a plug in and go away, right? 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Can he use that to advance his position? Or does he say, I want to go fast and put the reds on?
I mean, you're going to be spending a lap getting those tires up to temperature.
Well, it went up on the jacks, and there they are. So,
oh, dear.
M. Cohn, he's going to go back onto the track. And there he is. Next car. Oh, and he hits the wall coming off a pit lane.
Oh, just like Joseph Newgarden.
All of that work for MC, and now he's minus a front wing with 2 laps to go here at Watkins Glen. The good news is that he's only, even if he nurses this thing home, Mark Cohn is only going to really lose 1 more spot because Jeff Hysong is 17 seconds behind this crew, and Hysong is on old alternate tires and nursing fuel. Cohn, though, what a tough break. Here's the thing, though. With just a couple of laps to go, it's going to hurt him. It's not going to hurt him 15 seconds worth from here, you wouldn't think, would you, Ryan?
No, as long as he, keeps on the road, don't be over aggressive to try to compensate. Just do the laps.
And an incredible recovery drive, even so, for the Watchman. After his first lap fracas, he's driven back up through the field masterfully. He's picked up 10 spots over what he would have been had he called it quits earlier. So great job from Cohn. We'll see if he brings it down the pit lane this time or if he's going to choose to live with it. I suspect he's going to choose to live with it, and there he goes. So Cohn is going to nurse that car around. We'll keep an eye on the Delta back to Glenn Elder, who has assumed 13th, and that's a great run for Glenn Elder, by the way. It wasn't so long ago that he was last in this thing.
Yeah, I mean, it really shows that, don't give up. Always, you always have a chance to improve your position, advance your position, because you don't know what could happen next.
You're exactly right. Micah Mixer is trying to advance his position. Mixer just set the fastest lap of the race, but I think it's going to be too little too late. He is the only car to break into the minute 26 bracket thus far, but it's going to be throwing a pedal into the ocean at this point. Alex Miller now is still, even with that monster lap from Mixer, is still about 4.5 seconds ahead. And that's where we'll have to leave the charge. Alex Miller headed through turns number 8 and 9. He'll hit the chute turn 10 and 11 very shortly. Come across, grab the checkered flag, and he'll take the Horizon Series opener momentarily, Ryan. It's a masterful drive. He grabbed the lead at the start, and he was never headed.
Oh, without a doubt.
And there's Micah Mixer or Alex Miller coming across. Here's Mixer for second. And give you an idea of the interval, we're still waiting on Brock Morris. There he is weaving back and forth. Frank Wynn will take fourth. And where's Stouffer? Yeah, Anna, he really did control it. Still waiting on Chris Stouffer to roll his bones around here for fifth. He is a fun guy, by the way. We had a chance to visit for a little bit at the Indy 500. Chris Stouffer, I got to meet his family. He's a heck of a nice guy. There goes Turner Johnson through. Lith Fox is going to take the checkered flag. Matt Wagner is going to be the next car through. And then we're going to have Sheridan. We're waiting on Sheridan Wade, Hugo Gallas, Andrew Surwack, and Mark Cohn to finish it off. There's Gallas, and it's going to be a second, right, for Surwack. Do want to give all these guys credit. If you can survive a road race here, Ryan, you've done something pretty cool. Here's Surwack. And how about Mark Cohn? He's going to nurse it home for 12th spot. Good show, Ryan. Good show.
Yeah, great show for the season opener.
Yes, indeed. And so, your results here, the winner and the man who really controlled this entire race, that's going to be Alex Miller. In second, Micah Mixer. Mixer does get the fastest lap of the day, and so kudos to Micah. In third, Brock Morris. He started on the front row, and Brock Morris will bring it home third. Frank Wynn is fourth, Christopher fifth, Turner Johnson, Lith Fox, Matt Wagner, Sheridan Wade, and how about Hugo? Hugo Gallas is going to bring it home in 10th. In 11th, Andrew Surwack, Mark Cohn. How about Mark Cohn? That man actually picked up time on the leader, Ryan. If you look at the stopwatch, he actually picked up time on the leader from the time he stopped on lap 2 until the end of the race. Mark Cohn, he's going to rue what might have been.
Admittedly, Alex Miller's run out of fuel on the cool down lap is now being pushed home by Lith Fox.
There we go. There you can watch them watch that in the background. There he is. He's receiving some assistance. But Cohn 12th, Glenn Elder 13th, Yari Brubaker 14th, Jeff Heisong, Jacob Wilson, Nate Fields, Gary Lover, Nick Wheeler, and Isaac Morales are the remainder of the top 20. In 21st, Mason Mitchum, Kyle Clinworth, and Joseph Morales. None of those cars finished, and they'll be credited with 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, respectively. And yes, there's Alex Miller being pushed to victory lane by Lith Fox. How about that? Let's see if we've got anybody in the waiting room. How about Brock Morris? Brock, you've got Mark and Ryan Eric King in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy? Brock Morris, you've got Ryan Eric King and Mark Murphy in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy? I don't know that Brock was ready for us, Ryan.
Hello?
Brock, you've got Mark and Ryan Eric King in the P1. Brock, you've got Mark Murphy and Ryan Eric King, the famous wreck, in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I do. Sorry, my internet is very bad right now.
No worries, I know the feeling. You grab the outside pole for your series debut, run it to the bottom step of the podium. Kind of talk about your day. It was a bit of a roller coaster early, but you wind up third.
Yeah, I was very happy with my starting position. Like I was thinking about in practice, just anywhere in the top 5, I felt like I would be very proud of. But yeah, starting on outside pole. Kind of exceeded expectations. I was hoping to get a podium tonight. Not the flashiest race, unless you count my internet the entire time. That was pretty bad. But yeah, it went pretty smooth. The red tires were very difficult at the end, however. But I'm happy to finish third.
They can be that way. Ryan, what do you have for Brock Morris this evening?
I'd say, what do you think your chances are going into the oval rounds, because obviously this is a great start for your season, and this immediately puts you third in the standings. What do you hope to achieve in the next couple races?
Well, I'm only running the road courses this season. I just was too busy to run the full season, but I'm hoping maybe in season 3 I can come back and run full time. But yeah, just running the road courses this season.
Fair.
Fair enough. Well, Brock, I don't believe we've had you in the P1 booth before, and so with that, we do have a tradition around here. If you make it in the broadcast, you get the mic. Friends, family, sponsors, shout-outs. The floor is yours.
All right. Well, I'd first of all like to thank Revved Up Racing. Jacob was in the race tonight. We were running the same paint scheme. So big thanks to him and anybody from the team who is watching tonight. I'd like to thank Kettering University and Kettering Esports, the boys up there. And thank you guys for putting it on. And thank you to Horizon IndyCar Series for putting up the hosted.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Brock, for joining in. Go celebrate your podium, my friend. Keep going fast and having fun.
All right. Thank you, guys.
You are more than welcome. That's a very happy Brock Morris. He runs third today. For second, it's another gentleman that we haven't had occasion to talk to all that much. But Micah Mixer, welcome to the middle step of the podium. Mark Murphy, Ryan Eric King in the booth. Talk to us about your day.
It was eventful, kind of.
It always is, right?
Yeah. I'm actually trying to remember what happened. Yeah. So lap 1, I think I got rear-ended. I still haven't looked at it yet. But my rear end kind of lifted off the ground, so very likely to not get damaged there. Just made a couple good passes, and then I think I kind of drove away from the guys behind, and then I almost bended in the bus stop. That's pretty much it, though.
That happens.
It wasn't really that eventful of a race.
Oh, I don't know. Getting clouded in the back on the start, having a battle with Brock Morris and Frank Wynn. You did wind up setting the fastest lap. So if there's a point for that, you do get it. And running the full championship, certainly those are important. Ryan, do you have anything for Micah?
Well, yeah. One question I have is what was your thoughts on the tire strategy heading into the race? You know, this is a different kettle of fish from the ovals where you have to run 2 different tire compounds. How did that play into your strategy tonight?
Yeah, so that first stint, I extended 1 lap just so I could have 1 less lap on the alts at the end because they die instantly. So I extended that one, and then I was just like, all right, do another prime stint, and then we'll hop on the alts and just full push at the end.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
I think.
Go ahead.
I would say all 4 of my tires on the temperature graph on the wheel were yellow by the end of that, so they die very quick.
I'm sure they do. But Micah, thank you so much for joining in. Congratulations, middle step of the podium. The microphone is yours. Friends, family, sponsors, shout outs.
Yeah, I want to thank Eli Singh, my team owner, let me run in his team, and Mark Reed for making this scheme, even though he still needs to finish the road version. But it's still an amazing scheme. Yeah, and I think that'll be about it. Also, you can find me at Stig on Twitter, except the S is a 5. You can find me there. I tweet way too much, so.
There you go. Well, thank you so much, Micah, for dropping in. Congratulations on the middle step of the podium. Keep going fast and having fun, my man.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. That's Micah Mixer. He runs second. And for the man of the hour, we're going to go ahead and bring up Alex Miller. Alex, pole. Micah nipped you for the fast lap of the race early, but or the fastest lap of the race late with the fresh reds. But barring that, pretty much the class of the field start to finish Was there ever a point where you thought somebody might get to you?
Honestly, I thought that at the start. I was like, okay, let's see what happens. I got pole, but it's kind of a draft track. And then all kind of tripped over each other in turn one, and I broke the draft through the S's. And once I started, and then I knew Micah was kind of about on me, but he got stuck battling with Frankie for a bit. And then after he got clear of Frankie, he wasn't gaining on me. I was actually kind of gapping him a little bit more. So then, honestly, at that point, it was just keep the car pointed the right way, and I got this in the bag.
There you go. Do you think it could have been a situation where you had guys, you said they were tripping over each other, maybe they were trying to save fuel? Do you think that was a consideration? I only asked because you ran out and had to be pushed home by Lith Fox.
Yeah, thank you to Lyft for that. I kind of went a little aggressive on it, but my fuel calculator was like, take 5.7, I think it said 5.7 something gallons, and I was like, well, I can't do that, so 6 it is. And then from there, it was, I probably should have put in a little extra because of me pushing so hard and being faster on the reds, but it didn't matter. I know going in, I actually thought there was a maybe outside chance that you could one-stop this, but after a bit of practice, I think you probably could have, but I don't think it would have been worth it. You would have been too slow. So I ended up just kind of going full push for the entire race. So I don't really think any of the people behind were intentionally fuel saving that extra lap over me. I think it was more just that they were kind of closer together with draft and I wasn't.
Gotcha. Just for your edification, one driver made it the distance with one stop, and that was Jeff Heisong, and he finished the lap down. So just to kind of let you know about that. But Ryan, what do you have for the winner this evening, Alex Miller?
Well, I have to note an incident you did have maneuvering around the lap traffic, and I gasped. I thought it could have been the end of your day.
I was gasping in the team Discord as well. There were some choice words going out after that one.
Did it hurt anything though? I mean, we checked your car over and didn't see any damage. Was it one of those just kind of netcode snapbacks, or was there any damage at all?
I'd assume so. I mean, I was like, for the lap after that, I was spamming the damage report button, and I had a spotter in the session with me, and they were both like, yeah, it seems good, and it didn't seem to affect my pace, so I think we were good.
There you go. But thank you so much for joining us in the booth. Friends, family, sponsor, shout-outs, you know the drill. You've been here before. Have at it.
Yeah, as always, shout out to Taylor Mills and the whole Taylor Mills Racing crew for bringing me on for IndyCar, and beyond that now I've been doing some sports car stuff with them and having some fun in the GTPs. So thank you to them for all of the support. Shout out to Andrew for making the sets for the season. The set felt really good once I got it kind of about where I wanted it. And as always, thank you to P1 for broadcasting the league, and thank you to Matty Wags for putting on the league.
Yeah, we do thank Matty Wags too, and thank you so much for joining us, Alex. Dominant performance. Go celebrate with your guys.
Yeah, I will go celebrate with my deer in the chat. I do have an N of the deer awaiting me.
There you go, my man. I thought you said beer for a second, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. No, he said deer.
No.
Not on a Wednesday.
Oh, I don't know. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, Alex.
I'm sure it is.
There you go. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy.
Yeah, hopefully this is a better start to the season than last season, so let's hope I can keep that going.
Absolutely. That's Alex Miller. He's going to be your winner this evening. And Ryan, for a sports car race, for a bunch of guys who don't necessarily run a lot of ovals, this was a pretty good show.
Yeah. I mean, besides we had the opening lap incident, and we had two people go off at the bus stop. It was a relatively clean race. Once we got 6 or 7 laps under our belt, we didn't even have to consider the chance of there being a full course caution.
No, and I like these races too, like this, where there's different strategies at play, especially with the tires. Different people on different agendas, different drivers trying different things. We had Turner Johnson. He came home 6th today, and he was the driver who split the race into thirds. And so I thought that was interesting. Most of them opted to do 2 long prime and 1 very short alternate stint. You did have Matty Wagner attempt to go the distance on 1 stop. He bailed out of that. Jeff Heisong, he did make the distance on 1 stop, but it didn't. He had to go so slow, it didn't really pan out for him. But you had all these drivers that, there were 3 or 4 legit different ways to make this work. And then the car that I keep coming back to is the Watchman Mark Cohn. Early first lap incident, first corner, comes in, new front wing. Mark Cohn was faster to the flag from that point than Alex Miller. And so for Mark Cohn, it's going to be a question, I think, of what might have been. Either way, it's the first race. It's a long season. We do have a wonderful schedule planned for everybody who's a fan of the Horizon IndyCar Series and our fans here at P1. July 9th, we're going to go to Michigan. And if I don't think you can have anything more contrasting, Ryan Eric King, than a road course and Michigan International in these cars.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a trip. You think we were having some close wheel-to-wheel action tonight? You haven't seen anything yet.
No, you haven't. And then you go to Kentucky on July 16th. In Kentucky, the oddly shaped oblong track, kind of a reverse Texas, where one end is open and flat, and the other end is high banked and narrow. You're going to see some action at that joint. July 30th will be at Worldwide Technology Raceway Gateway. For the egg-shaped facility. It's such a unique track, Gateway. Gotta love it. Then Auto Club, so another wheel-to-wheel Michigan-like affair. And we'll close out August at New Hampshire, the paperclip mile. Pocono and Kansas are going to be run in September. And then Road America, Phoenix, Chicagoland round out October. We're going to end the season November 5th at Iowa, and then the big one, November 19th at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. For everybody at the P1 Broadcasting Network, I am Mark Murphy, partnered alongside my longtime friend, competitor, partner in crime, Ryan Eric King. Wishing all of you the absolutely best possible Wednesday evening you could have. We would also like to thank all of the people that make this possible, from the staff at P1, the racers on the racetrack, the first responders, the military, the police, the fire, the firemen, the EMTs, the nurses in the emergency room, the people that do the hard jobs in the middle of the night so that we can sleep soundly. We thank you. See us again. Catch us tomorrow night. It'll be Sam Crow and I, 8:20 from Atlanta.